everyone, me again. Welcome back to xameliax, and if you're new, hello to you too. You've joined at an excellent time, because today we're making gin. So a couple of weeks ago, Chris and I decided to make our own gin as a fun little lockdown activity, and it actually turned out pretty darn well. Turns out it actually really isn't that difficult to make your own gin, and it's really fun to do as well. And I got loads of questions about it over on my Instagram when I was posting our creations, so I figured I'll turn it into a little vlog because we are about to make some more for ourselves and also to give away to people this Christmas. So yeah, if you want to figure out how to make your own gin, keep on watching. So to make your own gin, you are going to need a base spirit, which yes, is vodka, and you turn it into gin by infusing it with juniper berries and different botanicals. I'm going to leave a link to my blog post down below, which will have a list of everything that we use and also some recipes as well. So if you think I want to give this a go, you can just have a look on there and click buy now and just have it all delivered to your door. It really doesn't cost that much to get yourself started, but it's just handy if someone's done it all, like done the research for you, and you can literally just add it to your basket and off you go. So you need your base spirit, you also need juniper berries, you are going to need some kind of jar which I've sterilized with boiling water, and then you're going to need your botanicals. Now we put the dry ones in first and then we add our fresh ones afterwards. So again, in that blog post I will leave like a monkey recipe, I guess, for a bog standard basic infusion of gin, and then you can add all your fresh ingredients to make your different flavors. So the gin that I made was actually a rhubarb and custard gin. I made it up and it actually did taste like rhubarb and custard, so I was really pleased, and I'm gonna have a go at making that again because it was delicious. And Chris makes kind of like a Thai flavored inspired one, which is like lemongrass, ginger, lime, coconut, and that was also pretty good as well, a bit stronger tasting than mine, but they both turned out really well, so I'll leave recipes to both of them in the blog post down below. But yeah, I'm going to show you what we do to get started. So first things first, you want to measure out your gin. I'm going to put 400 ml, I think, in here and see how my jar gets on, because my jar is 500 ml, but you need to leave room for your botanicals and stuff. I'm gonna get my scales out and I'm gonna measure 30 grams of juniper berries in there. Toby, that is not for you, get away. So that's our juniper berries in our jar, and now I'm gonna add in 6 black peppercorns, which I know sounds silly because they're only tiny, but it's a delicate flavored gin, my rhubarb and custard one. You'd be surprised at how potent these little things can be. Next I'm going to do just under a tablespoon of coriander seeds, and then 2 cardamom pods. All of our dry botanicals are in the jar. We're just going to put the lid on this, give it a little gentle shake once it's sealed. Don't want that going everywhere. Just give it a little bit of a gentle kind of shake, and then you want to put that somewhere cool and dark for 24 hours. We'll come back in 24 hours and this will actually taste like gin, and then we can add our fresh botanicals. Day 2 of gin making, and this is what our gin looks like after about 24 hours of infusing with the dry botanicals. And now we're gonna add our fresh stuff. So at the moment, it tastes like gin. After 24 hours, you've pretty much got yourself a gin, just like a normal, I don't know, like London dry gin, I guess. It just tastes ginny. But now is where we're gonna give it our own sort of flair and add in our own different flavors. Because they're just a bit more potent than the dry things, you just kind of want to add them like a day later, really. Again, not an expert, but we've done it and it worked and tasted really good. So I'm going to do my rhubarb and custard gin, which tasted really nice last time, and basically all I need for mine is a bit of grapefruit peel. It's not as strong as orange, which is why I tend to use it. It's just like a little bit of a lighter citrus flavour. Then we've got some fresh rhubarb and also some very fancy vanilla pods that I'm just going to pop in there and then leave it for another 24 hours. You want to give it a little bit of a shake leave it for about 12 hours, give it another shake, and then leave it for another 12 hours. So basically 24 hours like this, shaking once. It's a bit of trial and error really, trying to figure out exactly how much goes in, and personal taste as well. You know, you might like it a little bit more rhubarby than me or sweeter than me. So yeah, that's the fun of it really. You just kind of have a play around and see what happens, but you're going to end up with a good gin either way. Moved mine to a bigger jar because the rhubarb takes up so much room. It was sort of pushing it up the top, so I was able to cram a load in there using something a bit bigger. We started with our dry botanicals. We put our fresh botanicals in yesterday. It's been another sort of 24 hours. I'm gonna give it a taste test, see if it needs adjusting, but if not, this could be gin. It's really rhubarby. I think I'm gonna add a little bit more vanilla. So I'm gonna sift out the original dry botanicals and sort of leave it with vanilla and rhubarb for another, say, 6 hours, 12 hours, just to give it a little bit more of a potent flavor from those botanicals. And then it will be ready to bottle. That's really nice. We have gin. I'm really happy with how this is tasting now. It's really rhubarby, nice and sweet with the vanilla. It's exactly what I wanted. Just needed to keep shaking it, tasting it, adding, removing things to really sort of fine tune it. But it's not that difficult. It tastes good pretty much straight off the bat. It's just because I had a specific flavour in mind for mine that I really wanted to nail it. All that's left to do now is to pop it in our bottles. So there's a few different options for your bottles. You can either keep one of your gins that you've bought. Once you finish drinking it, keep the bottle, sterilise it, and put your gin into that. Reuse, recycle, and you get to drink a bottle of gin first. Win-win. Or you can buy empty bottles like this online, fairly cheap. They come in all different sizes, all different colours, and they are absolutely perfect for bottling your own gin. Let's do this. Okay, we're gonna need a few things for straining out our gin. The first thing we're gonna need is a funnel. We've got a really handy one that actually folds up flat to go in the cupboard. It looks a little bit like a menstrual cup, so whatever you do, don't get those two mixed up. But it's just really handy, it doesn't take up too much space. And then you're gonna need a sieve of some kind. We just use the one from our little cocktail kit because it's big enough, or you can just use a regular sieve, absolutely fine. And as a little bonus, I also strain mine through a muslin cloth, mostly because I use vanilla pods in my gin and they are super tiny particles that would still get through the sieve. But if you're just looking for a really clean, lovely, finished product, I suppose, then getting a muslin cloth and straining through that is also a really good tip. All you need to do is get your bottle, make sure it's sterilised first like we did with the jar, add your funnel to the top, sieve, and pour straight in. If you're using a muslin cloth, you can either pop that inside the funnel or you can pop it under the bottom. I feel like I'm doing some kind of weird magic trick with this cloth. And the final stage of making your own gin is the taste test and figuring out which tonic to put it with, which are different garnishes. I like the Mediterranean tonic with my rhubarb and custard one, and Chris likes a solid, strong, normal tonic with his and a little wedge of lime. And they taste completely different, but they're both really lovely gins. That is literally it, making your own gin at home. I told you it was easy. I really couldn't believe how easy it was myself the first time we tried it, and we've not had a bad gin yet. It's just so much fun playing around with the different botanicals and getting different flavours coming out. And to be honest, the possibilities really are endless. I'll leave a link down below to my blog post, which has got everything that we've spoken about in this video in there in a really easy to reference, to read format. It's got some botanical ideas, it's got some popular sort of tonic and garnish combinations that you might be able to have a play around with, and of course it's got links to all of the equipment you need to make your own gin at home. If this video has been helpful or entertained you in some way, please do give it a giant thumbs up because that really helps us creators out. And come and follow me over on Instagram at xameliax, because I do lots of how-tos, DIYs, little crafty projects. I'm one of those people that just can't sit still. But as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers! That is a good gin.